Piratical wizards.
Robot aliens.
Zombie dinosaurs. Boom.
Welcome to the Duality Gamecast, sponsored by Gladiator Games. Today's episode, a Battle Royale review of Smash Up.
Hi, welcome to the Duality Gamecast. I'm Dylan, I'm your host for today.
I'm William, a game designer.
And I'm Matt, lifelong gamer.
Today we are taking a look at Smash Up. This was published by AEG Games in 2012, designed by Paul Peterson, and it's for 2 to 4 players. Let's see how it plays.
Smash Up is a shuffle building game. Each player is going to select 2 unique faction decks and shuffle them together to build their complete deck. They'll then draw a starting hand of 5 cards. With that hand, you're going to play 1 action and 1 minion each turn. Every card in your hand is either an action or a minion. Minions have a power and gets assigned to the bases that will be out in front of all the players. For instance, I'm going to play this Enchantress to Tortuga. She's got a power of 2, and we're looking for a breakpoint on these bases. Each base in the upper left hand corner has a breakpoint. Tortuga's is 21. So, once the total power at this base from all players who put minions there reaches 21 or higher, that base is going to break, and we're going to score it. First place player is the person with the most power there. They're going to get, in this instance, 4 points. And second place would get 3, third place would get 2. However, that does vary from base to base. Also, most bases have a special power listed at the bottom of the card, which will go off when that base breaks, or they affect general play in some way during the game. First person to 15 victory points is going to win this game.
So how does this game play, William?
Smoothly, I believe. Overall, it's really easy to get into. It takes about 5 minutes of explanation for any gamer to completely grasp the game. And even new people who haven't really played too many games, I think, can get the gist of it very quick. On your turn, because you're only doing 2 things typically, unless cards tell you otherwise, you can really have your hand planned out ahead of time. When it gets to you, you do what you want to do, pass on. Overall, the mechanics are a lot quicker and simpler than I had imagined at first, and while there's some depth and strategy, a lot of it is kind of reactionary.
So also, the mechanics really feed the factions. Every faction is pretty unique, and they all get effectively their own game rule breaking abilities at some point or another. I really like that. It just gives you a lot more replayability. You've also got special abilities happening on your base cards, which are going to create different tactics, draw you to different bases. They're all themed to certain factions, and while that may make sense, oh, it's a zombie location, I should play my zombies there, they usually have abilities that might interest other factions as well. So I think, yeah, smooth mechanics. They really feed into the customization of the game.
Yeah, the mechanics are smooth, you know, the factions mixing together. They're really quite simple once you first play the game one time. And it makes the game fun and more fun every time you play it. But what about the components and art?
Well, component-wise, in the base game, there's not a lot going on besides cards. So let's talk about the art. The art is great, and I think that's what actually makes this game. When you talk a little bit about mechanics, I guess it didn't stress it's this simple. So without the cool factions on top of it, I think the game would be a little plain. But when you take the fact that the dinosaurs are cool robotic dinosaurs and not just cars with bigger numbers than everybody else, it actually makes you go, oh yeah, T-Rex, that thing's frightening, it's big. Whereas the ninjas have a lot more sneaking in stuff, and it shows on their art kind of what each faction kind of specializes in.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I would add, looking forward, if you do like this game, the expansions, they really take the theming to the next level. They inject a ton of humor into the expansion factions. For instance, there's a spy faction that has all the James Bond movie names kind of tweaked as card names. Apparently, there's a giant ant faction coming out where pretty much every card is a Queen song name. Just a lot of humor, a lot of fun they did with these. I love the art. I don't know if I'd call it consistent from faction to faction, but within that faction, totally consistent. And the typeset Iconography is all really clean. They were smart and put a nice big icon that represents a faction in the lower right-hand corner of each card. So when it's time to take this game apart, it's easy to know how to separate these decks that you've mixed up during the course of the game. What do you think?
Yeah, not many components to talk about. So the art, is great across all of the factions. All of them are very fascinating to look at, and they're all very well done. And as the new expansions have come out, I found out that AEG kind of knows their audience now, that more and more expansions come out because they know that this game is very popular and lots of people buy it. Is it replayable?
Yeah. If from another standpoint, the fact that it's a shuffle building game, I think is what they call it. So the fact that just the fact that you're taking 2 small decks of cards and shuffling them together, and each time you can mix it with the 9 other factions that come in the box, there's all sorts of replayability with it. But not just that, because it is a game where you're drawing cards, you're not going to get through every card in your deck in every game. So just 2 games are going to have a little bit different variants. And I think it's in a good way, because no matter what you draw, every card has gas behind it. Every card can do something. So you never get to the point where you're like, oh, I didn't get my combo engine. You're always drawing something that's kind of cool and on theme because the decks are so small and so tight.
Definitely replayable and fun. A lot of fun. If you like collectible card games, this can scratch that itch without, being a major investment because the factions combo in so many unique ways. And there's so many ways to cross the factions now, especially with all the expansions. And I think this has been so successful for AEG. They're going to just keep cranking out these factions until we tell them to stop. So fun and replayability very high.
Yeah, it's definitely replayable. There's so many different things you can do with different factions. You can mix them, and there's so many different strategies you can use, even though there's only 2 kinds of cards with the minions and the actions. And it's definitely fun. There's no denying that. All of the different factions have their own feeling when you first play them. What's your rating for this game?
Overall, I think I'm going to give it a love it. I bought it. Other people in my game group have bought it. I'm taken down from a must-buy to a love it because sometimes the game can actually run a little longer than this type of game I would expect it to run. It seems it's a quick, fun, fast-paced game, but we've had games where it's taken over an hour or so to play this fun, fast-paced, quick card game, and then those ones, it kind of wears out its welcome and gets a little bogged down. So, but still a great game. Love it.
I'm still on the must-buy with this because there's so much customizability and there's so much new content you can explore if you buy the expansions. Must-buy for me. I will agree there's some creep with time. One of the dangers of this game is its build is 2 to 4 players, but if you understand how the game works, you just need 2 faction decks to make a deck and then you can play. You could play this game with a huge number of people, but it will make the game take longer. But for me, the enjoyment just overrides all that. Must-buy.
It is also a must-buy for me. This is a definite go-to game for board gamers, casual to hardcore, all around. It's a great game that will always be fun in my book. Yeah, it could go a little longer that you may want it to, but it's fun, so that's not really a problem. So it is a must-buy for me.
I hope this video helped you guys make your decision. If you have any comments, please leave them below. Come and visit us on Facebook, Duality Gamecast, and at Duality Gamecast on Twitter. And please subscribe to this channel. We would love your support. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For more information on the Duality Gamecast or our sponsor, visit us on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for tuning in.
Zombie dinosaurs. Boom.
All right, that's good.
I love doing that.